Hello, BookTube. I'm going to do a quick library haul and a sort of what I'm reading now, what I'm currently reading thing. So I don't usually have hauls from the library. I'm a slow reader. I usually take out one book at a time, but you request stuff, and then of course everything just pops up at the same time, and then suddenly, holy crap, I got to start reading. So I better get this done so I can buckle down to my reading. First book that came up was Monkey Beach by Eden Robinson. She is actually a very local author to me. I live in British Canada, BC, British Columbia, and she's, yes, female native writer. This book was a 2000 finalist for the Giller Prize, which is the sort of the big money prize in Canada. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Definitely of the voices I need to listen to, female and native are big. First Nations are very top on my list, so looking forward to that. The next one is sort of a classic example of, I ordered this a while ago and now I can't remember. I probably saw it on Steve Reed's and was very inspired. And that is Martin Luther, Renegade and Prophet, which I've always been interested in Martin Luther. I'm not a religious guy, but just as a part of that kind of pivotal Protestant Reformation, the real kick-in, the real just horrific interscene. You want to see a battle, you see a battle within a house. So within the house of Christianity, that's when you get the really, really nasty crap. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I got it on audiobook, so I can cram it in my brain that way, because I try and cram things into my brain as many ways as possible with the limited amount of time I have. And the final book in my library haul, which actually I did request fairly recently, and it was apparently available, was Jonathan Swift, His Life and His World, which I've actually started. And it's a I didn't put right down the year. It's quite a recent book from Yale University Press, 2013, which, in history terms is fresh off the presses. And yeah, I've actually started this, got a couple of chapters in, and I'm really enjoying that it's also his world. I read The Life of Johnson a while ago, and that was James Boswell's contemporary account of Johnson, and you needed to do a lot of reading to try and understand what the hell was going on, because he was writing it like a contemporary book. So like today we wouldn't stop to explain cell phones. Back then they didn't, stop to explain stuff like in this book. You want to get somewhere. A lot of the times Swift, especially as at the very start, a very young man, he was walking everywhere. So we're talking like 70 to 90 mile trips to get from, like, when he took the dangerous Irish Sea crossing back to England, and then he was walking to Leicestershire. That was like a 70 or 80 mile, 90 mile walk in muddy, unpaved roads and stuff like that. Just like that kind of the feel of the world. So I'm really enjoying this, and also sounding like everyone's a bastard and a literal bastard. So yeah, this one is going well, and I'm enjoying that so far. So this is a part of my currently reading thing. Of course, also on my currently reading, as I am still working on, I haven't given up. You don't give up on me. I've done part 1 of my 4-part plus a prologue account of the Brothers Karamazov, and that's continuing. I'm holding up my paper copy because I can see why people end up getting addicted to paper copy, because it's a great prop. But I'm brief. It's interesting. I am using it as sort of a tracker for myself of like where I am, but really most of the things I'm doing it on ebook. I'm doing it on this phone here. Oh, this is the Grand Inquisitor. This is one of Penguin's little. They issued all these little 60s books, which are 60 pages of just little snippets from classics, and this is the Grand Inquisitor chapter, and a chapter before of the Brothers Karamazov, and so it's been kind of cool. And actually, this is from the Macduff translation, so it's obviously publishing synergy there. And it's interesting because of the chapters I've read, the Grand Inquisitor chapter, it was not like the rest of the book. So it wasn't very representative of the Brothers Karamazov, and it's very kind of it's like Christ telling one of his parables, really, in a way, even though Christ indeed pops up in the Grand Inquisitor, but I'll get into that later. So yeah, the Brothers Karamazov, which I'm still totally into. I'm reading on ebook. I'm reading on this phone here. I also have been what I've been doing is I've been reading the sections, but then I've also been going back and listening to an audio version that I got from the library, which is the same translation. It's the Garnett translation, and so really getting that depth in there, and so that's what I'm really enjoying with that. I'm also at the same time, just as my light audio read, I'm reading Robert Silverberg's Thorns, which it comes. I'm not reading. Well, I'm reading in the sense I'm listening to the audiobook, and it's actually how I came to that is that Spider Kiss by Harlan Ellison was narrated by Stefan Rudnicki, and I was like, oh well, what else does he read? And then looked back, and he reads Thorns, which 1967 science fiction book with all these wonderful covers. You've got the hideously malformed guy. He's been surgically transformed by alien creatures. I'm not quite sure why yet. There's also this young, waffish, virginal girl who I think is going to be the gross love interest, who's also the mother of hundreds and hundreds of babies, probably through scientific means. That's not the cover I have, though. I love like these 1967 covers. I don't think that's the 1967 cover. Actually, that's probably one of the reprints. But I just love, paperback covers back then were just so wonderfully odd and interesting in a way that I don't find a lot of covers nowadays interesting. But then again, look at me, I'm listening to all the stuff on audio and ebook, so I'm probably responsible for the death of a cover. I think that's the audiobook version, which is kind of very bland and generic, but that's because we've shifted out of the mass market big audience, so then you're going to actually hire some artists to do it. So yeah, that's my currently reading. That's my library haul, and I'll be be going full bore. The Jonathan Swift book here is a big thick thumper, which I'm not going to carry around with me. I'll probably be reading Karamazov when I've got my little moments, and I'll be listening to Thorns for some lighter listening, and then probably the good thing with this, you can just sort of have your own copy to listen to at your own leisure. I don't share it with anyone. It's nothing illegal that way. And I didn't say anything right there. So yeah, you don't need to know. Okay. So yes, that's my little catch-up video on that. More videos later.